Good afternoon. G-Force Friday. G is for gratitude. And I am so grateful. Gratitude changes everything, from the smallest things to the most difficult things. When we have a perspective of having gratitude, we change the energy and we're able to deal with things in our life in a different perspective. So G is for gratitude. Hey, I am so grateful today to introduce through a group of people, somebody that I saw him speak on another program or another live stream, Bill Janeshak. Bill, you have to apologize, Bill, here. My tongue sometimes gets in the way. Janeshak, and he's going to be bringing today a very powerful story and what he does. And so, hey, take some time to share this out. Be free to make any comments as we go through here today. But Bill, are you ready? There we are.
Hi. No, Tom, thanks.
Good morning.
I'm so excited to be here.
What's that?
I'm just so excited to be here. I'm grateful to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hey, Bill, what I'd like you to do today is just where are you from? Tell me a little bit about yourself, your family, and then we're going to get into your story, and I got some questions for you today too. So,
yeah, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Bill Janeshak. I am a chiropractor. I do functional neurology and functional medicine. My whole jam is stress and taking care of that. I'm in California. And we are currently trying to get unlocked down, but we seem to be going the other way right now. I lived on a little farm that we have out here. I'm just an old country boy, and we're sitting out that. I got two daughters that they're wonderful, and I enjoy spreading the message and of gratitude, health, wellness, and just trying to be the best versions of myself, helping other people do the same.
Wonderful.
So it's kind of me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, that's a pretty big one, So I was looking at your bio and all the things you're doing, and quite impressed what you've done and where you're going and how you want to help people. I like to say this. I'm from California originally, the northern part of the state, San Francisco Bay Area, born and raised there, but been here in the Midwest in Wisconsin for 24 years, but my roots are there. My family's still there, those type of things. But, Bill, in your story that got me is, you're a chiropractor, you're an author. I'm going to ask you some questions around that, but what got you into becoming a chiropractor? What's your story? What's your why? What was it that you had that caused you to want to go in that arena and help people? What's your story around that?
So, it's an interesting story is that I've always been an athlete. I was a baseball player. I loved baseball. You did not see me walking around as a kid without a ball and a bat and a glove walking around. So I played all the time. I didn't have a lot of talent. So out in the Midwest over there, in our buddy Ken's neck of the woods, I was a big Cincinnati Reds fan back from the Big Red Machine. So Pete Rose was my guy. I kind of emulated him because I didn't have a lot of talent, but I just worked really hard. So I worked so hard that I got an opportunity to, I signed with the Mets organization. And we're in California, so it's sunny all the time. And so I had a cup of coffee over there, and then they retired me. Because I just couldn't make the cut. I did the best with what I had, the talent that I had, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't enough. So that being said, as I was an athlete and I was really into movement and it just interested me to, again, be the best version of myself. And my mom had back problems. She got dragged to this quacky chiropractor around the corner from us who said, well, if your family's never had their spine checked, come over and, you got to come down there. So I was 21 or 22 probably at the time. I don't want to go. I feel fine. I don't have any pain. I don't have any this. And she said, you go, you do what you said. Doctor said you have to go. You know, back there, it was doctor's orders. So I reluctantly went in. I filled out the paperwork minimally, name, rank, serial number, went in, bend down, touch your toes, do this. No, nothing hurts. I have nothing wrong with me. Traditionally, how people do that. They took some x-rays. It was a free exam. I said, you want to take x-rays? I'm not paying for anything. And back then, we didn't have the x-rays immediately available. So they said, well, come back tomorrow. So I didn't go back. They hunted me down after a week, and I got dragged into the office, and I'm sitting in this little room waiting for the doctor to come in. You know when you're in the doctor's office and you're looking for the little things to steal. I said, I need some Q-tips, and and the doctor walked in when I was investigating what I needed to take home, and there were some x-rays up there, and he says, hey, those look familiar. And I didn't know much about anatomy at that time, and I'm like, yeah, well, it looks like an x-ray. And he said, that's you. And I'm like, oh, well, I got to see inside of my body, so that's kind of cool. He looked at it and he said, the way that this bone structure is, you don't have headaches or back pain or stomach problems or epilepsy or migraines or thyroid problems, or do you get sick? And he's rattling off all these things. I'm like, what the heck's he talking about? And then when I heard epilepsy, my ears kind of popped up, because I had epilepsy since I was 4 years old, and I would have 3 or 4 grand mal seizures a year. And those are the big ones when you're flopping down all on the ground and everybody wants to call the ambulance on you. And then, but I would have a lot of these petite malls, which you just kind of like, your eyes go out and you kind of come back. So I figured that my mom told on me. You know, she dropped the dime on me, and I said, well, you obviously talked to my mom, because, you know, how else would you know that? Because remember, that wasn't part of my name, rank, and serial number, and I had no reason or inclination to write down my whole history for this doctor. You know, like our buddy Ken likes to say, and Joe Ingram, like they like to say, you know, he's not a real doctor. So we get that a lot. But I felt the same way. And when we sat over there, I went, that's interesting. I said, you know, what's your take on this? And they said, you know, I said, I have epilepsy. And he's going through his paper. He goes, I don't see it. I said, I didn't write that down. I said, that's for my real doctor. You know, what the heck are you going to do for me? And then he explained something that was, and I remember where I was standing, because it kind of changed my life. Because he said, well, what are you doing for it? I said, well, I take 600 milligrams of Dilantin, which is an anticonvulsant. And, you know, I'm not supposed to drink. I drank a lot in high school, though, so that was, but I was supposed to get my sleep. I was supposed to do everything that I, you know, was good. But I was telling him, I was an athlete. I feel fine. I said, you know, what's your problem? And he said, well, they gave you these things. He said, the problem is that when you get stressed, your brain causes like electrical signals, and your brain gets overwhelmed, and it's like a circuit breaker, and that's when you have a seizure. And I went, oh, that makes sense. And he said, did they ever tell you why you have them? And I said, well, I need to take medication. He says, you don't have seizures because you have a deficiency of Dilantin. He said, there's something that's causing the problem. And it was the first time that anybody ever told me about fixing something versus symptom relief, because, you know, we grew up saying, well, if I don't feel something, it must not be there. From that point on, I was curious. I still didn't trust him all the way, but I was curious about this whole bent, because as an athlete, I know that if I lift weights and I eat right, you get stronger. And I didn't really get sick as a child. And I thought, wow, this is just interesting. Long story short is, after about a year, I wasn't having any more seizures. I was still on the medication, because you got to remember, I started having seizures when I was 4 years old, and I'm 21 or 22 at this time. So my morning routine was, since I was 4, I get up in the morning, I pee, I take my medicine, I eat breakfast, then get ready for my day. It was a high priority on my list to take my medicine because I tied my health to my medicine. And to tell you the truth, seizures didn't bother me a lot. I would have here, depending on the year and the stress, but seizures are really like a flu. You kind of flip out, you know, you go unconscious, you're wiped out for the day. You know, the next day I'm good to go. You know, that's over. Not understanding the long implication that there's a whole backstory in my brain going on. But the second year after having any seizures, I was learning, I'm going, well, maybe medicine's not the best thing for me. You know, I grew up, you know, I'm 55, so I was born in 65. It was right in that generation of doctor's orders. You know, this is very scientific and, you know, just to be safe, let's take this medication. And then I learned that maybe this is not so great. And there was a lot of bad things that can happen if I continue with this medication. So I started to wean myself off. And I was on 600 milligrams a day. So I went 6 pills, 5 pills, 6 pills, 6 pills, 5 pills, 6 pills. And I would do that for a couple of weeks. And it literally took me 8 months to wean myself off. And the most interesting thing that happened was when I got off the medication, my life changed. So, you know, I was a jock in high school. So solid C student, thank God for gym class that brought up my average. Learning always was, it didn't really come real easy to me. I knew it wasn't stupid, but sometimes I felt that way because I'm like, how come these kids are so fast? And even back then I had a little stammer if I got nervous because I couldn't get these things out sometimes. When I got off the medication, that's what changed my life. Like I said, the seizures, if you just took them and there was no other thing, it would be like, okay, I got the day off today. But when I got off the medications, wow, my thinking changed. The stuff that I was just so much quicker and everything, it changed. I went back to school. And again, I was a jock. When I went back to school and I finally decided I have to be a chiropractor because this is obviously a secret. And for some reason, people they're keeping wellness and health a secret. They don't know this. And learning things, and my brain is just absorbing from, you know, struggling C student. When I first, and this is not a joke, but it was funny. I got the letter that I was on the dean's list, and I thought, oh shit, what did I do? I've been so good. So I've been suspended from every school.
Dean list, you were getting called to the office to be reprimanded?
Because that's what I was used to. I was used to getting out and but usually I deserved it. But like I've been suspended out of every school that I've been in except junior high and junior college. And it was always for the same reason. It was like the administration's lack of sense of humor. But when I got this letter back saying I'm on the dean's list, I'm like, because, you know, now I was serious. I really wanted to be a chiropractor. And I looked and I'm like, what is this? And I had a friend of mine said, well, you've made the dean's list. That's like the honor roll. And I'm like, what the hell? That's new. But I just got really good at learning. And I was just so curious that I kept on going. There was one more rabbit hole to go through. And if I could learn one more thing and get this apart. And it's interesting because like this day, I still the same way. I'm going through journals and I'm like that. And, you know, it's just fascinating to me. The interesting thing is that after I graduated, started practice, and I started learning that if I learned more stuff, it wasn't going to make you any better because there was that component of, you know, you're a Bob Proctor guy. So, you know, it's about action and, you know, people can know what to do, know how to do it like that, and they just don't do it. Right. There was a emotional, personal development component to that because it didn't really matter what a great doctor I was or what I could do if you didn't show up to get the treatment and do the work that you had. So that's when I started really delving into Well, I dabbled in personal development back with Franklin Covey, or just Franklin back then learning about that, and then Tony Robbins, and then, you know, my good buddy Bob Donnell, Ken Walls, Joe Ingram. We all hang out in the same circles, and I got to meet some really good people and learning some key things, because if we can influence the people to do the right decision, I always tell people health leaks. And if you're thinking good thoughts, like I said, if you're in gratitude, and I'm so glad with your message, if you're in love and gratitude for your family, your finances, your friends, your health, whatever, wherever you happen to put that gratitude at and that focus, like I said, we do 90% of the same thing. Your finance guy at the tip of the iceberg. I'm a natural health guy at the tip of the iceberg, but going up is the same thing. We're just making better people the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And,
that's
you know,
interesting. You know, your story. Do you still have seizures or in your epilepsy, or?
So I'm still susceptible more than you are.
Okay.
So rather than having 4 or 6 a year or whatever like that, I've had 3 in 32 years.
Okay.
Or yeah, about that. So I'm 55. It was 22 or something like that. And I can go back and tell you exactly why I did. Times of stress, times of insomnia. I don't drink anymore, and the police here thank me for that. But it's just I think it's God's way of coming back and reminding me, don't get too above your raisins, and there's still the foundations that you have to take care of. So as long as I do the right things, I'm good.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you, Bill, you're a chiropractor and you've got modalities you use, all the different. I tell you what, I've been to a chiropractor. It was the freakiest thing for me. I got a bad neck from a football injury, and that just freaked me out that somebody could take and adjust me. And I had a real mental problem with it. I was like Mr. Stress, Mr. Tensed up. And I felt bad for that chiropractor because he couldn't get my mind to get out of that stress situation to let him do his work. So I'm sure you see that yourself. But, stress in chiropractic, you're talking about the mind, I think, helping people better understand that do the work and do the things they need to do it's your relationship to your thinking it helps you with your adjustments and manipulations. I don't call it manipulations. What do you call it? Adjustments, right? It's just part of it. So what do you teach people about stress and how their bodies are torqued and all that type of stuff? How do you help them better understand that stress is part of that condition they've got?
Yeah, so that's my jam, from probably 10 or 12 years. I came up with a talk, and it was called Never Say It's Just Stress Again. And it's because that's what I was hearing. I said, well, how are you today? Tom, what's going on with your neck? Oh, it's just stress. And my mind goes off and said, well, you really shouldn't say that. It's like saying, oh, well, it's just heroin. I'm just taking heroin, because they don't really understand the implications, the long term. So I started education on that. And stress it's physical, it's chemical, and it's emotional. And if you have one of them, you're going to have the other two, because they all affect everything else. People may come out with a physical stress, a car accident, poor posture, an old football injury. You can have a chemical stress. You can have food intolerance. You can live in LA smog. You can have allergies. Those are all just those are chemical stressors. And we can have COVID, too much month at the end of the money. My spouse doesn't love me. I'm feeling overweight. I've lost my confidence. My kids aren't all that they should be in my mind. Those are all stressors that feed into those. So, if someone comes in with neck pain, I don't get on my soapbox and start, giving the soliloquy of stress for the rest of their life. but I'll drip it on them. And then I'll ask them what else is going on. And so, were you aware that this has happened? And I'll give them tips and tricks. Here's some magnesium. Get out in the sunshine. Make sure you get some stress. Make sure that you get in and get your adjustments. The adjustments are very powerful on relieving the stress. And based on people's interest and their questions back, I'll give them all that they want. I have programs and things that we do. I do a lot of community-free classes to make sure that we can help people out and just get the education, because it's one of my, the Stoic philosophy is if let's not get caught up in our emotions, and let's not be our emotion. Let's control our emotions for our benefit.
Absolutely.
So that's yeah.
I put this up, Conquering Stress podcast. So those that want to, plug into that and get some of that wisdom you're talking about right now, I just want to make sure people have an opportunity to do that. And you also do some online courses as well?
Yeah. Yeah. I started doing those because I would have my patients, and we get pretty busy over here, and I don't have a half hour to educate everybody individually. And since I'm always doing research and looking about, the newest and the latest and the greatest and the BS, I just started. I have a 3 pillars of health program that we've done. I have a brand new weight loss. The first place I've said it in public is that we're having a brand new weight loss program that I think we're actually going to drop on Black Friday. I'm working on it as we speak, but that's going to be the final weight loss journey, and I'm really excited about that because I don't like pills, potions, and power. Again, I don't want to get rid of the symptoms. We want to get into the cause. So we go into deep clarity. I go very little into the details of what to eat and how to exercise. I think those have been done to death, because it's, like I said, people know that. It's the gap from knowing to doing. Exactly. So the biggest thrust is okay, well, if you eat these foods that are right for you, and if you do this over here for you, then your body will do that. But what about your identity? What's your environment like that's going to support you over there? What are the obstacles that will happen that we can prepare for beforehand? What are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do? And then we give definitions about, what does weight loss mean? And so we're excited about that. And I'm trying to add at least one of those new ones a quarter. That's a holistic scientific view.
Okay. And people can get that information on your website, those type of things?
Yeah. It should all be over there on YorbaLindaFamilyChiropractic.com. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure people, as we're talking here, are aware how to reach out to you, find out what's going on, that type of thing.
I appreciate that.
Weight loss. That's that's my biggest struggle. And I think we're talking the same thing here. Is you've read Dr. Maxwell Maltz's book, Cybernetics?
Yeah.
Yeah, part of what you're talking about there, that the weight loss is that self-image. What is the internal self-image, right? So do you work with that?
That's exactly it. And that's why, okay, so since it's just me and you and your other 1,000 people watching and everything, so the weight loss industry is a $66.3 billion a year industry. And they're sort of like big pharma, is they don't really want you to cure yourself, because take my pill, take my potion, take my supplement, do this exercise, do that exercise, do whatever you want. But that doesn't change you unless you embody it. And it is self-image. The only person that I knew that got into the mindset with weight loss was Dr. Phil way back in the day. Okay. And when he said, it's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you. And some people do have, they put a protective layer on them because they don't want to be hurt again. They're trying to keep this distance away from people. So, if you go back into, we will do more to support our identity than we will our goals. So if you wake up on New Year's Day saying, I want to be rich and thin, but you have an identity that says, you know what, I'm an average guy. I guess I'm just chubby and I'm just a working class guy. And I don't want to get above my raisins because I'll lose my friends. Those will clash, and your patterns and your identity will always win out to your goals. So in this program that we've got going on is I address that because that's the most important. There's so many diets out there and all of them work, and all of them or a lot of them conflict with each other. And some of them, they'll work for some people, won't work for other people. And we help you find your diet that makes sense and sustainable. Yeah. And my tagline in this is that through the program, I hope people gain much more than they lose. So we're trying to grow.
Some people may not have got what you said. Could you say that again, Bill?
I said through the weight loss program, the whole tagline is that through the program, I hope you gain more than you lose. Because if I just give you the paleo diet or the keto and eat this and eat that like that, and you do that, but you go back to your same pattern, you're always going to be running that yo-yo. But if we give you, if you gain an insight to who you are, how it is to take control of yourself, and you get the results, then you get the momentum and the confidence to go like, wow, if I've dropped my 20, 30, 50, 150 pounds, I wonder if I can get that promotion at work, or I wonder if I can go jogging with the kids, or you know what, I wonder if I can write that book, because if I overcome this, I can overcome that. And it's just building that confidence and momentum.
Yeah. Something that, if I may make a comment, the end goal is maybe to lose 30 pounds. That's not really the end goal.
Exactly.
The real end goal is who you become along the way. Because when you get better along the way, the end result is going to manifest itself. I think that's the journey, is improving what's going on in here in our subconscious. And then we can conquer the weight. Then we can conquer our health issues. And I really excited about the messaging that you provide, those resources. You can't do it in your adjustment rooms or whatever, because you got to get that piece done. But giving your patients a new awareness of health.
It is, and I wish it was new. But it's so old that it's anything else. It's just getting resurrected, and if everybody looked at their life in a holistic manner, that we get people all the time. I said, if you want to make more money, take better care of your health, because you show up. You're a proctor guy, so we know what energy we show up with, and there's the mental energy that we come in. And it's interesting, something that I do with the entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs who are just mechanical entrepreneurs, they go, I got this idea, I'm going to do this, and they work their tails off, but they're so unhealthy because they're working on their dream that they take their minds keep writing checks that their bodies can't cash, and they start crashing, and they get another one, and then they start crashing, and pretty soon subconsciously their brains go, oh, he's doing this again. Let's just let him run through this and give him a couple weeks, and we'll lose momentum and we'll lose focus, and we'll do that until the next time. So as soon as we take, the entrepreneurs, and we get their body energy in line with their mental and their vision energy, they take off. I take no credit for their business, but we do help them with their body, because they have to be aligned. You can't get an idea out if you're unclear in here. You can't sell what you don't own.
Exactly. Vision is so clear. You got to have a clear mental picture of the outcome you seek. As clear as you and I are looking at each other, as clear as a painting, as clear as a novel. When you read it, you can see all the details. That's the vision, getting people to that state. Hey, your best, how you are you co-author or single author in a book? What's your?
So that's an interesting story. So because I'm not an author. I mean, I am an author, but I'm not a writer. But I always had, I think everybody has an opus in their head. And I've always wanted to write one, but it was, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. I'm part of a group with Bob Donnell, who would be a great guest for you, who's unbelievable. I always tease Bob about Kevin Bacon has nothing on here. It seems like if anybody you wanted to know, I said, just go to Bob and he knows everybody. So he started a group called Next Level by Association. And the first guest speaker there was Greg Reed. Greg Reed is the head of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. He's a speaker, a multiple best-selling author. And he was there, and, we talked. And it's an intimate group, so you get to actually know these people. And, it's the first time I met, high-fived them, hugged, said it was great to meet you. And the next month, we had a mutual friend that he was the producer of Pretty Woman. And I had met him, and he was good friends with Greg. And I was at my office. I was sitting right where I am, and there's a door over here. And I'm walking out, and my front desk says, "Oh, we got a phone call. This producer's on the line." And I said, "Oh, that's nice of him." I said, "I'll have him call him back." And I thought to myself, I'm like, how cool is that? Very Hollywood sounding. It sounded like, well, my people will call your people, and we'll get in touch. But so I was kind of living this dream. So I call him back. And I say, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Well, thanks for calling." He goes, "Well, I was talking to Greg, and he remembered you, and he really liked what you had to say." And I'm thinking, "Well, what the heck did I say? What was I talking about?" And he says, "We're putting a book together with different authors, Les Brown, Greg, and some other people are going to be in there. We want you to contribute." And I'm thinking, okay, it took him 5 minutes because I figured he knew that I lived on a farm, so I had a truck, so maybe he wanted me to help him deliver or something. He goes, "No, we want you to write something." And I'm like, "What do you want me to write? I'm a chiropractor. This is a personal development book." He says, "No, and so we had a couple meetings. They questioned, he goes, "That's what we want to know. What is your, your motto?" And after talking to him, and it was, they asked me how I did what I do, and I said, "Well, I guess you just have to know the truth." I said, "I guess you have to know your truth." And so they grabbed a couple chapters in the book, Initiative, and that's how I became a best-selling author on Amazon.
There's a writer and then there's an author. I like being an author because it means you're an authority on something. So that's it.
Nice. I like that.
That's authors. You're an authority. That's what an author is, not a writer.
You know what? I like that. I like that. So I would say that my next book, I'll be an author, and I would have been a writer on that. But it kind of brings up another thing that I like to do is that when they finally got through to me that they wanted me to put my name on something and put words behind it, I'm like, wow. Every bone in my body said, "Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to make a fool out of yourself." And my mouth said yes. And then we hung up and I got scared. And I go, what did I just do? But it's one of the healthiest things that I do. I think we should all do stuff that pushes our comfort zone. And I try to do that all the time now. This year, I was going to go on some Hollywood auditions for acting. Simply, I don't want a new job. I don't want to do that. But I want to do something that I've never done before. I want to do something that makes me uncomfortable, where my heart goes like this and I say, I don't think I can do that. So once I do that, the next time something really uncomfortable comes up, I'm building that muscle.
Wow.
And I think everybody should do something like that.
Man, I can't wait for the Oscars to come out, man. So you come across the stage holding that Oscar. And but
I'll give you a shout out.
I know man. Probably your next appointment, but I just want to make sure that you're be able to make that for your next client. But you're in Southern California, right?
We are, yes.
Yeah. So how long have you been in practice? How many years?
Oh, 1996. So we do that. Okay. We're in Yorba, California. I'm about a quarter mile away from the Nixon Library. And Yorba's a really quaint little town. We're up on a little hill, and it's a really nice place to be. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy my practice. I enjoy my staff and my patients. And I was just telling someone last night, I said, I just have a blessed life. And, not all days are the, sunshine and unicorn and rainbows, but I really do enjoy getting up in the morning. And I enjoy at the end of the day when I can say, I did my best. So yeah, I'm in gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude.
I have a good G going
on. Thank you. That I think is part of life, is that you get up knowing that you're making a difference in somebody else's life. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't see their contributions, and we all have the ability to contribute and improve people's lives. That's my passion, is getting people to recognize that, if you ever see my story, I went through a lot of stuff, about money and how I was brought up, and my dreams shattered because of, a lot of different crazy stuff and how it held me back. But through coaching and running across people like yourself, you do bring value and something to improve people's lives. And, so, and I know your patients are grateful for you, because you do, besides just doing the adjustments, with all the things you're doing to help them become better, healthier, what a contribution you make. And getting up in the morning's got to be exciting for you. So I know you got a short stop here, but I'm just going to, anything else in parting that you'd like to share with those who are going to be watching this on the replays, or because this is virtual now. This is
I know, and it's great that we can connect like that. The biggest thing is I want everybody that's listening to this, we all got stuff, and I had my epilepsy. You had everything that you went through. The interesting thing is, as human beings, when we're going through stress, we have 100% survival rate. We always come out the other end. Sometimes we have to get dragged through the other end. We always have to do that. And when you always come back out and you look back, you go like, oh, I made that. And you either go like your first time on a roller coaster, you go, oh, I don't want to do that. And then you come out, you go, let's do it again. This time I'm going to put my arms up and I'm going to do this. And you learn from it, or you learn not to do it again. But you always come out, and that's how we grow. I'm a big, big fan of suffering and going through the pain. Like I said, we need to be uncomfortable, because that's how we grow, and that's how we build calluses and we build muscle, and we do that. And the more you suffer, the happier you are, because somebody that cuts you off doesn't really bother you. And if we have that bigger picture of what our life's going through, so it doesn't matter who's ever listening to this, you can do it. Whatever you're going through, you can do it. Reach out to Tom. Personal development, financial development, based on gratitude. It's just, this is a wonderful life. And I'm not just saying that because it's coming into the holiday season, pitching the movie, but it is a wonderful life if that's what you look for. And you will resonate with that, and then you will attract like-minded people and things and opportunities in your life and keep your head up and keep going. So that's all I got.
Wonderful, my friend. Hey, I say that with an honor. Just the short time we've communicated, it's certain things you can resonate. I can call you a friend. We're on the same. We think a lot alike. We have the same missions and visions in life. We just do it in a different way. So I appreciate that.
Exactly.
So hang on, because I'll wrap up here. And again, it is with gratitude to get to know you. And so you have a blessed day, and I will sign us out here in a second, Bill.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
That was Bill. I really look forward to. I'm setting this up a little bit here. I look forward to having him come back on. Maybe we'll get a little more pointed on some deeper dives on some of the things we talked about in general today. But it is G-Force Friday. G is for gratitude. Embrace that in all situations on a daily basis and watch what happens in and around you. Things will become easier, not as stressful, give you a different perspective, and it's through gratitude you can make a big difference in your life, in other people's lives. So with that all said, we are signing out. G-Force Friday.